Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted in the AITAH subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "My ex-fiance tried to get my wife to cheat on me. I think my ex-fiance Jess might have tried to get my wife Olivia drunk and cheat on me. My wife thinks I am overreacting and overthinking the whole situation. Can someone tell me if I would be wrong to ask Olivia to stop being friends with Jess immediately?" For context, Jess and I started dating during the sophomore year of our college. We met through mutual friends and connected instantly. She was charming and outgoing and made friends instantly everywhere she went. I am more shy and nerdy, but I enjoyed going out to parties with her. We got engaged on our graduation day as both our families were attending. I got a job in a big tech company right after college, and Jess moved in with me while looking for jobs. That is when the relationship started going downhill. Jess was an art major and had trouble finding a stable job. She did a bunch of freelance work and mostly worked from home. I was overwhelmed with work. She always wanted to go out to bars and clubs, and I wanted to rest in the evening after 10 to 12 hours of work. I was okay with her going out with friends alone, and I would sometimes tag along on the weekend. It bothered me that she was still in her party girl phase. She complained that I was becoming boring and should enjoy my early 20s before we settled down. I was also not happy with the friends she hung out with, as there was a lot of drinking and drug use. Even when I went out with her friends, she would be extremely flirtatious with guys in her friends group. Her excuse was always that she gets flirtatious when she is drunk or she was just joking. I had enough and decided to call off the engagement after 2 years as we were just different people at that point. The breakup was messy and she kept trying to get back with me for almost a year. There were some incidents where Jess may not have acted in her best judgment, and I blocked her from all my social media. I did not want to deal with the drama and wanted to move on. I also got a transfer to another town around that time and never heard from Jess again. This is when I started dating my wife Olivia. My wife was the exact opposite of Jess. She was very soft-spoken and a homebody like me. She knew I was engaged before. We dated for 3 years and have been happily married for 2 years now. However, one of the sticking points we always had was my Thursday nights. 3 of my closest college friends are now scattered all across the country, and we generally play a video game together on Thursday evenings since our college days. Olivia complained that she gets bored during that time. About 6 months ago, Olivia told me she got a Facebook invite for a group where they had painting and wine nights on Thursdays. It was mostly 8 to 10 women who got together at someone's house and spent the evening painting, drinking wine, and gossiping. According to Olivia, it was just a few housewives and divorcees, and they welcomed her. One of the women's names was Jess, but I did not think much of it. 2 weeks ago, Olivia told me it was Jess's birthday and they wanted to have a ladies' night at a club. Olivia hates loud music, but Jess convinced her to come for dinner and some drinks. On that night, I got a call from Olivia at 10 p.m. asking me if I could come and pick her up. I could tell something was wrong and immediately left to pick her up. I went to the bar and went in to pick up Olivia. I was shocked when I realized that her friend Jess was my ex-fiance. She also looked surprised to see me there. I was polite and said hello to everyone, but Olivia wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. After we went in the car, I told Olivia that Jess was my ex-fiance, whom I had not seen for almost 7 years. Olivia was shocked to hear it, and she did not know about it. It was crazy since I did not even know she lived in the same city as us. Olivia told me Jess was the one who had started the painting group. She had divorced her husband 2 years ago and moved to our city for a fresh start. The reason why she called me was because she was getting uncomfortable with the situation at the bar. Since Jess and one of the other women were single, they kept on encouraging guys hitting on them and inviting them over to their table. Jess was trying to get everyone drunk and was asking Olivia to open up and have fun. She was constantly hyping up Olivia to 2 of the guys who bought them a round of drinks. At this point, Olivia excused herself to go to the restroom and called me to pick her up. I am not happy with the situation, but I am also not mad at Olivia. I am just uncomfortable with Olivia hanging out with Jess. I told Olivia about the same. Olivia told me that she was never going to put herself in the same situation again with Jess or anyone else. Also, this friends group is the only real social life she has since we both are in a completely new city. She does not want to stop going to her painting nights with her friends. I brought up the thought that Jess could be acting in malice, but Olivia told me she did not think Jess would know I was her husband, as Olivia never showed my picture to anyone in the group. She also said that it's been 7 years since we broke up. Jess is a kind person and I should not judge her based on one night when she was drunk. She still wants to stay friends with Jess. On one hand, I do not want to separate Olivia from her friends, but my gut feeling is telling me something is off in this situation. Besides, it feels weird to have my ex be friends with my wife. Am I wrong to want Olivia to stop being friends with Jess because of my gut feeling, or should I just let it go as it's Olivia's call to make? User SK Phantom said, not the asshole, though you really should call out Jessica for being inappropriate. Even if she did not know it was you, she was still trying to get a woman in a relationship to flirt with or possibly even sleep with random guys. User Bored at Home said, your wife called you to come and get her. I think that's a really good sign. And now that you have warned her, she can decide how the future pans out. However, I would ask to see the paintings from time to time, just in case. User She Who Knits said, not the asshole, but you need to remain low-key and let Olivia process this information. The painting and wine nights are harmless, and the birthday bar night could just be a one-off, and Olivia may choose to not participate in one ever again. She also knew how to handle the situation on her own, so she is not a vulnerable, naive waif fresh off the turnip truck. Trust your wife. If she gets any mean girl vibes from Jess, she will know how to deal. To this, OP said, that is the approach I am taking for now. I do not really have any reason not to trust Olivia. It is Jess whom I do not trust. However, I do not want to come across as an asshole or insecure by asking her to stop seeing Jess. She does not have many friends and seems to enjoy being with others. Plus, the other women in her group seem to be nice. Olivia told me it was a lesson learned for her and that she would not put herself in such situations again, where she goes to bars alone. She felt Jess did not act inappropriately since she is single and is allowed to flirt with guys. Olivia just felt uncomfortable and removed herself from the situation. Update. For reference, I broke up with my ex-fiancée Jess 7 years ago and have been together with my wife for 5 years. After the night of Jess's birthday where she tried to get my wife drunk and flirt with strangers, I had a long conversation with my wife. I laid down why I was uncomfortable with her hanging out with Jess. My wife agreed with most of what I said, but she feels that enough time has passed now where we can let things go. She also talked to Jess and she told her that she had no idea about me and it was just one happy coincidence. Jess also insisted to my wife that she moved on with her life after our breakup, found love, and unfortunately, the marriage did not last. She told Olivia that maybe we all could go out for dinner together and clear out the issues. Jess also insisted that she was just having fun at the bar and apologized to my wife if her drunk behavior made her uncomfortable. My wife asked me if I would be okay with their friendship as she has not found a social group in the new town for a long time and Jess seems like a changed person. She also told me that she would only meet these women during her art night and not go out on girls' nights or trips. I felt that as long as Olivia was comfortable, I should not have any reason to be worried. We also had dinner with Jess once and Jess was very friendly. She told me about what happened in her marriage and how she is on her healing journey right now. She also apologized to me for her behavior during our last few months together. Jess also now owns a business and works as a freelance artist and graphic designer. I also was gracious as we were just 23 and I harbored no ill feelings. My wife also started hosting art night at our place once a month or so and I had to move to my office for my game nights. Last week, after the art night, Jess and one other lady hung back and we were all drinking wine and chatting. The other lady was asking questions about Jess and me. Jess told her that it was old history and I went no contact with Jess for 4 years. That was the reason why she had no idea about Olivia. Olivia looked at me and asked Jess, "You mean 7 years ago, right?" Jess said no, and that was when we broke up. However, we met every time I came back to my hometown. I thought she was drunk, so I corrected her again that it was 7 years ago and she was misremembering things. Jess said maybe, and we moved on. The next day, Jess sent a bunch of photos to my wife of me and Jess hanging out. They were just innocent photos like us having dinner at a music festival, working out together, etc. The weirdest part was I had a few tattoos on my body that I got after I broke up with Jess. I also never owned the clothes the person in the photo was wearing. Even the photos were timestamped to 4 years ago. Olivia freaked out because we started dating in summer 2019. I did make a trip alone to my hometown in Christmas 2019. However, I never met Jess. She started asking me why I did not tell her about meeting Jess. I tried to tell her that these things never happened, but she does not believe me. She also called Jess, and Jess told her that we met because I was back in town. However, we were just platonic at that point, and it's not what my wife is thinking. I confronted Jess, and she told me that I am stupid to not tell Olivia about meeting her, and also not telling her about Olivia. She says that I told her I am still single. Olivia is very angry at me. She is not believing a word I am saying. I kept on telling her that I have not seen her for 7 years. Olivia says she does not mind me meeting her, but I should have told her as we were together. I volunteered to show her all my phone records during that time, but they only go back to 3 years on my carrier. I am confused how those photos can even exist when I never met her. They are definitely photos from when I was with Olivia, as I look more muscular in these pictures and also have tattoos that I did not have back then. I even told her she can call my friends and family and ask them about the trip, but she says that she has all the photos of my trip and my friends and family will cover for me. Can someone please help me with what I can do in this case? I need to convince Olivia that this is all false, but she is just angry at me and giving me silent treatment. I swear that I did not meet Jess during that trip and am caught up in this mess without my fault. Update. A lot of people are messaging me in direct messages offering to review the pictures. I appreciate your help. I am not comfortable sharing the fake photos online with strangers. I am going to have an acquaintance who is a photographer look at them today. I had 2 people who are digital artists look at them so far, and both of them told me they cannot identify anything wrong with the photos. Also, another thing I learned after talking to a friend yesterday was the music concert venue was a park near my parents' suburb, and I did indeed go there with my friend for a Christmas tree event. He also confirmed to my wife that he was with me all the time and we never met Jess there. He also shared 2 photos from his camera roll that showed me wearing a different t-shirt than the photo that Jess shared. My mom confirmed that the gym photo was taken in an exercise room from the YMCA my parents go to. My mom reminded me that I did use their guest passes during that trip. I have no idea what is going on, to be honest. Final update. I want to thank many of you for extending support and help. This has been a horrible week that just kept getting worse. I do not blame my wife for believing Jess. Jess seemed to be a changed person from the girl I broke up with 7 years ago. I felt bad about her being in an abusive marriage for almost 3 years with a narcissistic husband. She got her life back together, was doing great with her work, and also started her own business. She had me rooting for her too, and I was proud of her journey. I could see why my wife liked her. After Jess sent photos to my wife, I tried every possible thing to prove that the pictures were fake. I showed them to 3 acquaintances who told me that they could help me. None of them were able to find any inconsistencies with the photos. I also called my parents and my friend who I met during that trip. My mom saw the photo and recognized that the gym photo was taken in the YMCA gym where my parents go. She remembered that I used their guest passes during that visit. My friend also identified the park where the music festival photo was taken. He confirmed that we had gone there during my visit for a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Things were just getting really confusing as to how photos could exist between Jess and me at these venues. Jess, on the other hand, was comforting my wife, telling her she did not imply anything when she sent her the photos. She said that she was married at that time and we just ran into each other a couple of times during that visit. Jess was telling my wife to not overthink the photos and that I must have forgotten that we ran into each other. What calmed my wife down a bit was my mom talking to her and telling her that in no world would I hang out with Jess after all the stuff that happened during our breakup. Things got really messy and there was a reason why she was blocked across everything. My wife agreed with her and told me to just let it go. However, it was just a horrible feeling as I did not have any real proof that this was fake, and I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop any time. I finally caught a huge break last night. My wife decided not to go to her painting night with Jess and friends yesterday and told me she just wants to be left alone and wants to read. I wanted to sit with her, but she told me to go and play with my friends as she wanted to be alone. During our gaming session, I told my 3 closest friends what happened and how there were photos of me and Jess at locations that I actually visited during that trip. The session turned into them bashing Jess and how manipulative she is. After our gaming session was over, my friend Jim called me on the phone and told me he wanted to talk about something important about Jess. He asked me if I was alone as he did not want Olivia to listen in. I told him I needed to go to a different room. I put my phone on speaker and went in our bedroom where Olivia was sitting and prompted her to stay quiet. Jim told me that he has been in contact with Jess for 3 years. He said that she was still married but was planning to leave her husband. They knew each other because Jess was my girlfriend all through college. The initial conversations were just catching up and Jess complaining about her husband. He told me Jess inquired about me a few times as she had learned I got engaged to Olivia around that time. He said that they have been talking for a while now. Jess also told him about the coincidence that Olivia was in her painting group and how she met me a few months ago when I went to pick up Olivia. She told Jim that Olivia came to her birthday and was heavily drinking and flirting with guys. She even sent him a few pictures. There were a few with Jess and Olivia together, and then Olivia hugging and kissing a guy on his cheeks. I asked him to forward me the photos and he sent them to me on Discord. Jess told him that I am still the same insecure guy and must be tracking Olivia as I showed up at the bar at 10 p.m. like a parent to pick Olivia up. Jess did not know that Olivia had called me from the restroom to pick her up. Jess made a joke to Jim about how ironic it is that I broke up with Jess because she loved to party and now I am married to a party girl. I asked Jim why he did not share those pictures with me before. He said that he did not want to stir the pot in my marriage without knowing all the details. I was really mad at Jim at this point and asked him what else he told Jess about me. He said not a lot and they barely talked about me. However, Jess was obsessed with Olivia and would badmouth her a lot. So Jim might have told her a bit about Olivia, like what she does, where she works, etc. I asked Jim if he ever told Jess about our game nights and he said he has and how Olivia complains about being bored. I told Jim not to tell Jess about our conversation. Jim asked me not to tell anyone that he and Jess are in contact. He said that his wife might get the wrong idea and he just wanted to reach out because things seem to be getting really weird in my life. Olivia was listening to everything and staring in disbelief at the photos that Jim shared. As soon as I hung up the phone, she started explaining to me that these were the same guys that Jess called to their table and were buying them drinks. However, she never even stood next to them, let alone hugged or kissed them. She also pointed out that her Apple Watch in the photo was on her wrong wrist. She was also spooked out that Jess knew about her for almost 3 years, and there was no way she did not recognize her when she joined the painting group. Olivia was also angry at Jim for talking to Jess and backstabbing me for so many years. She pointed out the fact that Jim was missing for one day when he and his family visited us last year. Jim was gone for the entire day and came home late at night because he had to work from his office in our city. 15 minutes after our conversation, Jess messaged my wife and told her that they missed her at the painting night, and she will see her next week. Her level of deceit really gave us chills and Olivia was really worried. Olivia wants to go no contact with Jess, but I am worried that it may not be enough. I also still do not know how Jess knows about what I did when I visited my parents in 2019 and all the locations I went to. I also do not know who else Jess is talking to and sending Olivia's fake photos to show her in a bad light. It is really unnerving, and I am just thinking about how I should confront Jess and make sure she never bothers us again. Thanks again for all the help from the community, and your messages really helped me keep my sanity during this rough week. User Odd Welcome said, I do not like to kick people when they are down, but my goodness, your wife owes you such a huge apology, like an earthquake-moving hysterical bonding apology. You better collect on that once you are safe and in the clear. To this comment, OP said, my wife tried to apologize many times since last night. However, I do not care about any apologies. I just want to get things back to normal and get rid of this nightmare. I can dissect who was wrong and what happened later, but I currently feel my family is in danger and I have no idea how many other people there are out there who might have seen fake photos of my wife or me. It is also scary that Jess knew where I was 4 years ago when I went back to my hometown. She was married at that time and still she knew what gym I went to and that I went to the park for Christmas tree lighting with my friend. She knew the clothes I was wearing, how my body looked at that time, and got all those details right. There have to be other people who she is talking to. User Ariad said, ghosting someone like Jess is the fastest way to get them out of your life. Direct their text to an unvisited directory, but keep the text if you need them for future evidence if they go unhinged and start stalking or turning up at your house. You want a front door camera that records sounds. Get a restraining order if you need to. Look into finding a forensic photographer. There is a way for a specialist technician to prove an image is manipulated. You might need that if you need a restraining order. This next post was made in the relationship subreddit by a user named Usual Rub. The post is titled, My friend is upset at me for discriminating against men I don't find hot in the club. We have been friends for 8 years. We went out clubbing Monday night with one other guy and one other girl. I brought them to my favorite place and we got drinks and started dancing with each other. I had a few different guys come up and try to dance with me, and I rejected a few before I was approached by one I found attractive and decided to dance with him. The same thing happened a couple more times, and I went home with the third man I danced with other than my friends. I saw my friend again yesterday at his place and he asked me, "Why did you say no to dancing with so many guys, yet you danced with a few of them?" I told him I was just waiting for an attractive one. He replied, "So if a guy isn't attractive, you won't even give him the honor of dancing with you?" I said, "I can be picky about who I dance with if I want to be." Then he asked me, "Do you discriminate based on looks in your work as a doctor?" I said, "Absolutely not." He said, "Somehow I doubt it. You seem shallow and I doubt you leave that in the club." I asked him, "Are you upset with me?" He said yes, and I immediately got up and left. I'm starting to feel afraid of him because of his attitude. Do I talk to him about it, or is he beyond help at this point? I'm not sure if I should just avoid him for my own safety. User Obsessed Easily said, "Is he honestly comparing whom you chose to dance with at a club to whom you chose to see as a patient in your professional capacity as a doctor? He's being willfully obtuse. There's no way anyone is this clueless." Also, he said you seem shallow. That's an odd way to phrase it when you're talking to someone you've known for 8 years. After almost a decade of friendship, he should know your character by now. Has he made strange comments like this before? Personally, I wouldn't want to remain friends with someone who insulted me out of nowhere. It may be better to avoid him. User Mormagills said, "I don't understand why people don't get that the purpose of sexual or relational preferences is to discriminate. That is the whole idea. If we weren't trying to discriminate, we date and have sex with anyone. But instead, we are usually looking for a limited number of people to date or have sex with, usually even excluding all the way down to everybody except one person. If someone accuses me of discriminating in my dating or sex life, then my response would be, well, obviously, I'm glad you noticed."